I mean, is anyone else still shocked? Tottenham Hotspur have gone to the Etihad and won by 4 goals to 0. I just had to make a video in this analysing what went so well, the tactics, why Spurs did so good in the game. But before I begin, if you are new here, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button too, it will be greatly appreciated. And well, obviously you want to start with that first goal, and we can all highlight the quality of Dejan Kulusevski, the timing of his pass into the path of Maddison. But what impressed me most is actually the run from Maddison. Forward runners are a massive thing in modern day football. If you want to score goals, if you want to break defenses, you've got to have somebody willing to go beyond. And when Manchester City are in this rest defence, you can see this gap between Walker and Stones, and not many midfielders would recognise the opportunity to run in behind, to get in behind, sniff the goal, but Maddison does here. And this is why I was very disappointed from a Spurs point of view that Maddison didn't start against Ipswich, because I know his quality, I know how he can run beyond. Sometimes when you're playing against certain deep blocks, you need that runner in behind, somebody who's willing to go beyond, and Maddison can do that, whilst also having on-the-ball capabilities, threading passes, picking up pockets of spaces. Maddison can do that, but I really did like this from Spurs. The connectivity, you can see it there in this little triangle. Porro, Solanke, Kulusevski, the rotations between them, it was really nice. A really solid goal here from Spurs, really did love it. Before we of course talk about the other goals, brilliant stuff. I feel like what impressed me most was the out of possession shape, and I want to show you what Ange Postecoglou did and why that midfield today was so impressive. So here you have Yves Bissouma, he's the one that is going to trigger the press. I think what was really good is the three midfielders, whether it was Sarr, Maddison, Bissouma, they were the ones that had to pounce on City. One of them would be the one to go forward, the other two would sit behind. And that's how you disrupt, Manchester City getting that tempo, getting that rhythm. You need somebody to be able to jump and go beyond. And it was really disciplined. You'd also see Maddison be the one to go and press. He'd be sometimes the one that would come onto Gundogan, then it would be Bissouma in this zone. There was a lot of rotations in a defensive viewpoint. I think like Ange Postecoglou, for me, one of the biggest steps for him to get to that next level is improving the out of possession shape. And I feel like today the tactics with Maddison as well, coming a bit deeper, having Bissouma jump onto it, having Sarr jump onto it, we know the energy those two have. It really did disrupt Manchester City. Also, how Tottenham prevent the central pass progression from Manchester City was really good. You'd have the line of four in there, with obviously the one that would press from the midfield three, like I talked about. You'd have Solanke as well in there. He played a really key role as well, pressing onto Akanji, pressing onto Gundogan, preventing the balls going through those central areas as well, pressing really nicely. But then by blocking this central pass, the balls into the feet of Haaland, into Bernardo, into Savinho, it meant that Spurs were comfortable for Manchester City to play out wide to Gvardiol. They felt that Porro could deal with that threat, and it's brave, but it was effective. It really was effective. They didn't want to be too narrow, but at the same time, they trusted their fullback to defend those situations. And I feel like Udogie and, of course, Pedro Porro were very good in this defensive sort of sense. They really did deal with Savinho, Bernardo Silva, Foden really well. There was no space for City to kind of like have Spurs not be able to breathe in there. It was so good from Spurs today. Let us now talk about that second goal. Really loved, again, the press from Tottenham. Solanke, Kulusevski, Sarr. Look how coordinated it is. They do not want Manchester City to breathe, to go away at the Etihad, to press in the way that Spurs did. And let's not forget here, people are talking about Manchester City having injuries. Spurs were without their two best defenders, Romero and Van de Ven. They were still courageous. They were still pressing high. They were still able to suffocate Manchester City. And that second goal comes from that. Look at Kulusevski ready to pounce here on Akanji. Look at Solanke ready. He's ready for any ball to go in there. It's so good. Not many times can you say Manchester City are outnumbered from build-up. You've got how many City players? Let's have a count here. You've got 1 in Akanji, 2 in Gundogan, 3 in the Bernardo Silva, and 4 in Gvardiol. Now let's count those Spurs players. Solanke, Kulusevski, Sarr, Porro, Maddison. They've completely outnumbered Manchester City in their build-up. And when you do that, when you're brave like that and win the ball back, It is so, so dangerous. Really did love this brave approach. But the connectivity and the structure to the press was top from Spurs today. Obviously, the ball then makes its way onto Son Heung-min. But I feel like the credit has, of course, got to go to this guy in here, James Maddison. Today, he was just sniffing the goal like, it was something else today. It was his birthday, maybe he's just got that extra push for him. But the way he was sniffing opportunity to make the outside run, to go beyond here, he caused a massive, massive problem between John Stones and Kyle Walker in that first half. His runs, his recognition of the spaces in behind them was just absolutely unbelievable. And I hear Tottenham fans saying Son is washed, Son is this, Son is that. Son today did the job. He did the job. The weight of pass into Maddison, when he does eventually make the movement in there, was absolutely world class. Just knowing when you release that ball as a forward, it's so, so crucial. And Son had the ability today to just wait and wait and wait, pick his moment, and Maddison was able to finish over Edison with a fantastic finish. Now onto that third goal, and it's a massive shame I wasn't able to show you more of Kulusevski's brilliance today. The way he was picking up the ball, driving with the ball, confident, the passes he was doing, it was really, really good. But here we have that third goal. The way he dribbled out that midfield space was unreal. The link play with Son, really, really good. Obviously, we know he overhit it to Solanke. But what I want to focus on here is the runners Spurs have. Look, Porro ready there. Solanke, Son, Kulusevski. Everybody is wanting to go and score. And I know a lot of people will call Spurs naive, trying to always score, trying to be on the front foot. But today we saw why that can be such an effective strategy. Because who knows, if they had sat on their laurels at half-time at 2-0, for me, Manchester City get back in the game. But the runners, they wanted to get into the box, to get into City's final third. It was remarkable to see. And Solanke, for me, the big number 19, was really, really good. Of course, he doesn't get his goal, won't get the credit. But his off-the-ball play, his on-the-ball play as well. When he had the ball, he kept it. He tried to make it stick. He created the assist for Porro. It was really, really good. And now let's see that goal. And here we have it. I was highlighting Pedro Porro, and rightly so. Look at the desire to get in this zone. Obviously, we know the finish he does, but the numbers in the box as well. Sarr has managed to bust a gut. You know, he wasn't in the last frame. You would have seen I only highlighted Son, Kulusevski, Solanke, and Porro as well, who was just in the frame. Sarr wasn't there. You can see the desire. The thirst for a goal from Spurs today was just absolutely unreal. They were so hungry. I'm sure Spurs fans saw in the international break Kulusevski for Sweden saying, "I'm hungry, let's eat." Today it was like that. Spurs were hungry for those goals, and they certainly did have a fantastic meal today. Sarr running in beyond, Bissouma getting a bit forward as well, Maddison as well, who was deployed in a bit of a deeper role in the second half. Absolutely unreal, orchestrating, keeping that ball. You know, it was so, so good, and I was happy to see this. And really does set up Spurs in a great way. And it was just about having every single action in the final third go your way. And it certainly did. Some great finishes, some composure in there, and City were put to bed. Now let's look at that fourth goal. I mean, oh my word. This is the 92nd minute of the game. And look at the Spurs players trying to get forward. Brennan Johnson, Solanke, Kulusevski, Werner. Spence is even trying to get on the overlap. That is absolutely unreal. A manager's dream. 5 players trying to bust the gut to get there. Gvardiol's there for City. Just count the City players. Spurs are essentially in the 95th minute where you think, okay, keep the ball, keep the clean sheet. They're outnumbering Manchester City in an attacking situation. They have completely got a man for each man in this attack. Gundogan, Brennan Johnson, Solanke, Ake, Kulusevski, Akanji, Walker, Werner. It's absolutely unreal to see this. And I'm going to be honest, when I saw Timo Werner go 1v1, standing up Kyle Walker, I was like, no way am I going to see Timo Werner actually try and get beyond Kyle Walker. And I was pleasantly surprised. You should have seen my face when he had gone on that outside, drove past Walker. It's what I love about Timo Werner at times. When he's confident, when he trusts himself, he can be so, so crucial in these games which are really stretched and you need those pace out wide. Absolutely did Kyle Walker. And as you'll see from the next frame, fantastic ball into the box. And where we have it, I mean, look at how far Timo Werner has travelled with that ball to eventually find Brennan Johnson, who does, of course, slide it into the back of the net. It's really, really good play. And I know a lot of Spurs fans are tired of Werner's end product, his last ball. But today, He was absolutely good when he came off the bench. I know it's only 2 minutes, but this is what you want to be seeing. Against Ipswich, we didn't see an impact from the players coming off the bench, but they were hungry. They wanted to show what they were made of. Werner getting on the outside of Walker, playing a beautiful ball across for Johnson to score. Substitutes combining. That is what you want to be seeing. But the question is now, Spurs, can you keep this going? Can you keep this momentum? Because for me, Spurs, you don't worry me against the big sides. You have transitional threat. You have ball carriers. You have final third passes. You've got good defenders, decent defenders, brilliant fullbacks. It's those low blocks, those mid blocks away from home, Palace, Ipswich. Can you perform? Can you show what you're really made of? And if you can under Ange, you'll go really, really far. But anyway, that's it for now. Hope you have enjoyed. And until next time, peace.